Alright, it is time for Mrs. Guadalupe to tackle Act 4, and Act 4 is a pretty chunky one. There's an introduction of a few things that could lead to spooky scenarios. Most notably, I would say, is the introduction of corrupting blood from the belly of the beast area. Aside from that, there isn't really too much to worry about, I don't think. Maybe some niche, unique mobs that have lethality, but really just watching out for mercenaries. It's gotta be public enemy #1 through and through. Speaking of mercenaries, let's keep our distance if we can. We could stay so far away and let our 3 totems now fight mercs. It's crazy. Boss time. Speaking of bosses, one thing I do want to go grab is Assassin's Mark. Because Assassin's Mark is a really nice damage upgrade that doesn't fall off. Marks don't fall off when on bosses, especially. So it's like, you place a mark and you're good for the entire fight. I mean, unless they phase, I guess. But I like the chill of that versus, you know, doing something else wild. Eventually, if we were to get ourselves an anathema, which will allow us to override our curse cap by a substantial amount, we would then run an Arcanist brand setup where we maybe use 3 curses, like a punishment, conductivity, and then something like an assassin's or something. You know, so it depends on that setup, but in general, we're just going to rock an Assassin's Mark. That's one click, does its job. We're here, Act 4 town, Petrus, Vanya. First thing we gotta do is vendor, and we're gonna head to the lake. The dried lake has really only one thing in it, and that's gonna be the banner from Vol. Once we grab that, we are good to go. Oh, there's a monolith here. Interesting. Starting to get some higher tier life flasks, which I'm a big fan of. Let's see what this monolith has to offer. Any uniques by chance? I don't see any. No, nothing good from that one. Okay, there's Vol. Just have to watch out for his big charge and slam, and that's the entirety of the fight. Oh, another mercenary and a strong box. I love getting distracted in the zone by little doodads. Okay, we're connecting the bridge over here. Now we can take out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. And we're going to put them into other stuff on the side. I'm not sure what I want to grab just yet. Part of me even wants to grab a corrupting blood immunity, but I'm nowhere near any of the good protection masteries. I guess the best one would be up here, the Chaos Res Curse one. I could grab that to just give myself Curse Reduction, Chaos Res, and corrupting blood immunity. I think it might be honestly what I do. It might seem like overkill, but realistically in hardcore, I don't mind grabbing this cluster remotely, because I will be pathing up here and then taking out some of these points eventually as well. So I feel much safer now having an amount of Chaos Res, right? We're going to be at now positive 48 pre-Katava, pre-Act 5, and have a nice amount of Curse Reduction and have Corrupting Blood Immunity. So that makes me sleep a little better at night, you know? 20 movement speed boots that have an open suffix and dex and life. I think we're taking those. That seems good. Let's head back to Siosa in Act 3, grab ourselves an Assassin's Mark, because I definitely want to have the benefit of that. I wish I could use Mark on hit, but unfortunately it's just not in the cards. That's going to give us a nice chunk of base crit and crit multi. That'll make my totems just do a little bit more damage. You can see from the crafting bench here, we do have access to put on some things in these boots we just got. One of those things is resistance. Our current boot does have fire res, although we are still undercapped. So this amount of fire res, which we actually hit a perfect one, haha, is going to be enough fire res to, well, cap us. Not to mention give us more movement speed and more life. We do have to find a new place to put our vitality, but we're just going to put them on our boots as well. Looks like I haven't unlocked any of the specific color modifiers yet, so we're just going to have to toss on a chrome, I guess, and hope. Perfect. The other thing to consider is utilizing our chance orbs. We don't have many chance orbs, but I think we're just going to hold on to them for now. Back in Act 4 town here, we could hit the seal we got from Vol, talk to Nico so we can activate Delve, which we will be doing eventually to a degree, and we could get the reward for our quest for opening up that seal from Tasuni, which there is one nice thing from there. Now, of the things from this list, Stone Golem does give us a nice amount of life regen, and it also gives itself a nice chunk of, gives defenses, and because we're running Vitality, that also affects the Stone Golem. So this is like an extra layer of Vitality we could rock. Keep in mind, using a Golem can lead to some fucky scenarios of like things chaining off of stuff, or maybe explosions proccing on it versus me, or it preloading rooms with mob aggro, but overall, I already kind of have that problem with totems, so it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. Into the mines we go, looking for just level 2. If we grab the Sulfite, we can progress the Nico quest line. 3 different nodes of Sulfite. It's always good to click Sulfite regardless, because There's a divination card that's commonly gained from Sulfite that's pretty good. You want to watch out for the boss over here. I think it's Pike Rivet. Tell where he is or where I am. Okay, so here's the boss. Oh, wow, a portal gem. It's kind of shit, but that's funny. Typically, portal is really useful for running Cast on Death Portal early on, but we don't need Cast on Death Portal because, you know, well, if we die once, we're dead. Pop that Assassin's Mark on that Merc there. Give us a little bit extra damage. You can hear the crunches from the crits. You could really tell it's working when you hear those extra crunches going off. There's a third Sulfite. No div cards. On to Mines Level 2. Mines Level 2 has two things. The entrance to the crystal area and Deshret Spirit, which is guarded by a unique mob that I don't have to kill, but I'm going to kill because Deshret did nothing wrong. Here's the spooky ghost. And boom, you've been Assassin's Marked. He's already dead. He dies so fast now. That is a passive point, which we like. Oh, there's a ghosted rare charging at me. Okay, what is happening? What is happening in this instance? Guadalupe, Guadalupe. Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. Hey, a wide swing. That's kind of cool to see. Assassin's Mark, engage. The Crystal Veins has really nothing going on. There's a unique mob right here that I don't even have to kill, but I'll kill, called the Burning Man, just because. But he doesn't do anything, and he just blows up. This area basically acts as the hub for the end of Act 4, because it leads up to both the Calm Dream, the Duresso area, and also, you know, Mr. Spooky Nightmare Boy in the middle. Alright, here we are. There's a crafting recipe. Here's the waypoint. Here's Dialia. There's Calm's Dream. There's Duresso's Dream. Well, first, we're going to head back to town and grab our passive. Alright, now it's about, we want to pick Calm or Duresso. I typically do Duresso first. I almost always go right first and left in most of the mechanics in this place. There's a couple little bosses, and then we're pretty much out of here. Oh, he's ghosted. Weird. Oh, we got a beast. It's a monkey. That could be good. These sort of gauntlet fights are great on totems. Like, you just get to hang out, sit in the middle, and just watch as the murder transpires, you know? Level 40, we're going to bridge the gap across here, and then just move some points around. Just make it a little bit easier to travel. I think we're going to start to pick up these duration nodes. I want to grab these for Stormburst, and then we're going to probably introduce Arcane Cloak into the mix once we get our blessing for our free Purity of Elements. Alright, so this is a bit of a conversation. Bastion mercenaries are bullshit. They have some really horrendous scaling. And they've been nerfed like 4 times. However, I do think they're still high rip rating here. They are just, something is cooked with how they scale. And we just want to stay away. You can actually see the damage that my totems are taking is way more than anything else anything has taken, really. So just to be leery amongst them, especially getting like an infamous bastion, or when you start to map getting bastions with like bad rare modifiers in your maps, it's just most likely going to be a skip for a while. It's just, something is cooked. There's a few things that are cooked. Certain infamous mods are just scaled poorly. Hey look, it's Barcool and his stinking flock. He's dead. Barcool is gone. On to the Grand Arena of Theopolis. We go left of the waypoint here. That typically leads to the mini-bosses after 2 arenas. Whoa, okay. See, if that, like, we walked out the gate and there was a crit shrine, that'd be a little bit of a dicey scenario, you know? Unfortunately, this merc still seems to have that massive shrine, even though I've taken it. He's not losing it, is he? Alright, mini-boss time. These guys are not very spooky. And they die quite quickly. They're already dead. Alright, here's Duresso. Also kind of a nothing fight. It would take concentrated effort to die at this fight. And down he goes. There's our Eye of Desire. We gotta loop back into town. Back to the Crystal Veins. Hand in our piece to Diala, and then do our left side. The Calum's area is very similar. It's just a long, windy bullshit. A couple airlocks, and then we're on to the boss. Here's one of the few mini-bosses in the area. It's just a grove of totems, basically. I think one physical lap around the area, and they'll probably be dead by my cluster. And there they go. Calum Stronghold, the second level, there's one waypoint, and then it's just more of the same nothingness. There's an important crafting recipe we just grabbed, which is the ability to guarantee 2 to 4 link things. It'll definitely come in handy. Getting new upgrades can make them 4 link. It's gonna be great. A Thunder Quiver. There's our first Soul Eater rare. Every time you kill something near them, they just get stronger and stronger and stronger. But the buffs do wear off eventually. So in a hardcore setting, if you were like shitting your pants terrified, you just kind of walk off screen and wait like a minute, and it'll go back down to 0 stacks. There's a Caustic Orb on Death mod, so when he dies, these little orbs fly. You can see them above my head. It does chaos damage. You can just run circles, and then they'll catch up to you, but you'll move out of their AoE. Let's grab the Duration Mastery, more skill effect duration. This is going to make our Stormburst do even more damage, since they deal 75% of skill damage for each 0.4 second of remaining duration. The more we get the duration up, the more damage it ultimately does. This is also going to scale up things like any buff we have, because it's skill effect duration, so any amount of skills we do, that duration will also go through the moon eventually. So things like our Arcane Cloak setup will be lasting fucking forever. Down goes Calm, boop, and we have gotten our second piece. Alright, so we can hand this into Diala. This is going to blow the fucking motherload in the middle, dunk the belly, boom, and we have access to the end of Act 4. But first, we're going to head back to town to grab our reward. Hello, Diala. Hello, Diala. Alright, look at this lovely pile of rewards. It's funny because none of these things we actually end up using. We don't even really bother using multiple totems, because although it does give us +2 max totems, it does end up netting as just less damage. It's not really worth using for 2 more totems to lose the 40%. Some people do it, but it's just not much of a point on this build as a Hyro, because we just get so much, you know, from having our totems. Just, we can place them, and you can use a shield, and eventually get a 4th totem, and it's just, it doesn't really make sense. Some things want multi-totem, we don't. But what we do want is, where is it? Eternal Blessing. Eternal Blessing is pretty big. Eternal Blessing is going to give us a lot of EHP, effective health pool, in the form of allowing us to run our purity of elements basically for free, and then take our vitality and put it on our life pool as a local allocation. We're going to require some more links here, we'll have to figure out, but we're going to grab the Arrogance support, which is right there. Alright. So now we want to basically have our Purity of Elements hooked up to Eternal Blessing, which is going to cost nothing because we're not reserving anything in our mana pool. We want to keep that open for our Mind Over Matter, so we have this huge effective health pool. And we'd like to put Vitality on Arrogance, but honestly, at the moment we don't have the links, so we're probably just going to hold on to that for now and not run it, which is fine because we do have a lot of other stuff going on here. Some people don't even run it at all, but it's just like, I think it's a nice, comfy little thing to have. Another setup we're going to put on, which is our Automation and Arcane Cloak. So Automation just automatically triggers instant castable spells, which is, might sound like that's a large amount of things. There's actually not that many instant cast spells, and Arcane Cloak being a guard spell is one of them. Arcane Cloak takes 75% of damage from hits before my life into this buffer that is then gained by eating all of our mana. It also grants flat lightning damage equal to a very large portion of that damage. Now eventually we're going to hook up things like Arcane Surge and more duration to it, but I just don't have the links at the moment. It's also not super important to have it totally set up, just any basic setup is good enough for right now. So Arcane Automation isn't an aura, even though it is a set thing you set up. And when it has a trigger, it then gives us our cloak, which does give us more damage, but also at the cost of eating some of our mana pool. Now you'll see my damage goes up by an amount because I'm gaining flat lightning from that mana it's eating. So when I end up with a huge mana pool, it does give me a huge amount of damage. And having things like Guard Recovery, which we'll be grabbing from nodes like Guard skills have increased duration, grabbing Mana Masteries, or grabbing, you know, the word, you can look up the word Guard to see what affects it. Damage taken recouped as mana, things like Guard Recovery will give us a way of that guard coming back faster, meaning we get our Arcane Cloak back faster. We also look fucking cool, by the way, wow! But it's going to just make us the tankier and give us more damage, and it's just like another layer of buffer. So effectively, our health pool at the moment is not 1.6. It's more like 3,000 almost, because it's the amount from the cloak combined with our mana pool, combined with our mana and life regen, combined with our life pool. So we could take a pretty massive hit and still be okay at the moment. Layering defenses, layers of absolute defenses in EHP is a great way of getting your defenses up in hardcore especially. So now we're in the Belly of the Beast level 1, which we're basically just walking towards the end to find Piety and kill her. And then we'll be entering Belly of the Beast after level 2 to just go fight Malachi the Nightmare himself, ending up rounding Act 4 and entering Act 5. Into Belly of the Beast level 2. We do want to be on the lookout for Spirit Shields now. Spirit Shields are the ES-based shields that can roll caster modifiers. So for example, this one rolled Spell Crit. Now, they could have things like gem levels and spell damage. We want to use a shield. Shields can have effectively really, really similar stats, aside from like flat damage values, as wands or scepters. We want to have a shield and a wand or scepter because we want the form of defense that is any amount of block. Our actual ES isn't really going to matter so much. That's kind of an irrelevant metric for us because we're going to be life and mana EHP based with Arcane Cloak, etc. But we want to have just any amount of block is nice. Same way, eventually we're going to try to go for suppression. I kind of want this guy's helmet because it has a bunch of res. So we're going to take that guy's helmet and hide behind the caravan. Whoop, ghosted rare. Be a little bit careful. And boop. Turquoise amulet. I like that. 6 all res, cast speed, armor, ES. Yeah, man. Put some life on this turquoise amulet because it has great stats. Everything else is good. Let's put some hybrid life. I don't have access to hybrid life yet. Alright, we'll put some mana on this new helmet because mana equals life for us. That'll give us a bunch more res. Nice. Could even toss a suffix on our existing wand. That's not substantially strong, but yeah, we'll give it some cast speed. Never stop looking for upgrades. Always try to min-max your gear, especially while progressing through the acts. Little upgrades, like ones you could do from a crafting bench, tossing a life roll in here, tossing a mana roll in here, tossing whatever. That sort of stuff makes a substantial upgrade, an increase in your survivability. I mean, think it, but, 20% more res, 20% more damage. That's the difference between life and death a lot of times. So here's the Piety fight. It's a pretty standard ring around the rosy scenario. You could just basically lightning warp over it and then just stand still and nothing really happens. Or you could run in circles if you prefer that. Not a very complicated fight. The most spooky part is the fact that she applies Corrupting Blood, which we are immune to because we grabbed the mastery, the protection mastery, for Corrupting Blood immunity. There's actually a lot of Corrupting Blood in this instance. It's just, we're immune to all of it. Just like most of chaos damage, just like most of curses. So grabbing this recipe here, which is the Ellie Res recipe, which is nice. Onto the Harvest, the final area before Malachi, where we're going to be killing all 3 mini-bosses, grabbing their organs, putting them in the font in front of the door, and that's going to give us access to the Nightmare Malachi. So Toxicologists are the Chaos Bow class. They can be spooky because it's chaos damage, but we have pretty nice res, so we're not too worried. Here's the waypoint. Here's Piety, who's now helping us. The Black Core. Oh, I need to get the 3 organs. All right, let's go get those. Malachi, Dodri, Shavron, Malachi? Malagaro. All the M people. Alright, first up is Malagaro, because that's just the first one we found. Mostly just a chaos damage fight, which we're not really afraid of, because we have res. Down he goes. Grab that heart. Thank you for the organ, sir. There's always 1 on the right, and then 2 on the left. And we did the 1 on the right, so we know the other 2 are on the left. Alright, next up is Shav. Shavron herself. She does a bunch of lightning damage. Again, we're capped res and not too worried. And down goes Shav. Ooh, a corrupted essence. And it's about to get a ghost in it. Yep. Okay. So corrupt essences you can't leech off of or recoup and recover off of. That's the main shtick with them. They're not too scary. I'm not sure what ghost that is. Forger. So it's making little shitty clones. That doesn't really make a difference. Honestly, this is not too spooky. We're not a leech-based build, so for us it's just no different than normal. But we can use that remnant on stuff. Use it to augment essences in various ways. Next thing we're going to grab after we just picked up the transition nodes over here is we are going to work towards our first lightning mastery. I want to pick up the 40% Fizz Convert because that allows us to actually drop the the what's it called? Fizz to lightning support, because that's not very good. And we're going to be able to pick up then the, what's it called? The lightning pen support, which is a lot nicer damage-wise. Here's Dodri. She's got this cursed ground memes, but you just run in circles and it's fine. Or I could hide behind a stalagmite and it's also fine. There's the lungs. Now we could loop towards the middle and be done with the area. Alright, talk to Piety, hand in the organs. Boom! The black core is open. Time for the end of Act 4 in Malachi. Malachi is, I guess, a 4-phase fight, technically. The upper and lower level. The upper level, we have to do damage to Malachi. Then we have to do damage to Piety, then damage to Malachi, damage to Piety. Until he goes back inside Satan's asshole down there. Then we have the next phase of the fight, which is pretty easy. Kill me! I love this part. I'm curious if my totems are going to know what to attack. They kind of do. I'm going to have to replace them, though, because they're kind of stupid. Yeah, it's all about watching out for slams, watching out for bombs. Nothing too out of the ordinary here. Down she goes. There's these little traps on the ground. You can actually use your totems to just place them on them to detonate them. It's pretty useful. So, Piety's been spiked. She's having a bad day. We're going into Satan's asshole. And now it's going to be breaking up all the organs. We do damage to Malachi, kill organ 1. Damage to Malachi, kill organ 2. Damage to Malachi, kill organ 3. Fight Malachi, fight over. Pretty simple. Just place our totems next to the organs we want to fight, and then they'll take care of the rest. Again, we're just like so tanky for this stage of the game that it's really like not even a concern. But I still like to play safe. There's the teleport attack. It'd be really hard for us to die to that. Alright, the last organ is broken, and now we are on to Middle Malachi. The end of the fight, the end of Act 4. The end of an era. A very important fight in the history of Path of Exile. And down he goes. A couple rares to grab here. I.e. the bronze gauntlets, that's it. Maybe they're great. They're not great. Here he goes. He's gonna pop. He's gonna pop. Flap. Splat. Is that an eyeball right there? That's something. It's gone. Alright. Now, you can check vendors and purchase what you need. There's gonna be some stuff. Obviously, they might have a good wand or a good item. And legally, although I've never seen it myself, Act 4 vendors can sell 5 links because they can sell 5 sockets, so there's a chance that it can be linked. I've never seen it, but it can happen. We could finish up any quest dialogue we have, and then travel to the Ascent. There's not much else going on here, though, unfortunately. Diala, hello. Oyan, hello. Goodbye, Mr. Tiger. And now we are on to Act 5, the Ascent.